Hello and welcome to episode 133 of Gamers of Lost Mark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other spark on the pod, a man who has collected more rings than Sonic the Hedgehog. It's uber fit, Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Hello, how are you doing? Nice to see you.
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yes, carry on through my daily life, enjoying my podding in the evening. So thank you for having me on board again.
You're welcome. I was just adjusting myself there. How is your Apple Ring kind of quest to keep kind of like filling your rings every week, every day?
Still going. If I can find it, I have had another ping on my phone, which now means that I am on day 234. Oh, 234. I didn't realise. Special occasion.
Wow.
So yes, 234 consecutive days of my filling my 3 rings on my Apple Watch. For anybody who doesn't know, the Apple Watch comes with a fitness thing where it's I've got mine set to 900 active calories, an hour's worth of fitness, and 12 standing up throughout the day, which is relatively easy for me. But some days like today, I've been working today, so I've been running around a nice house locally, testing network cables, and because I've been on my own, I've been running to the bedroom, swapping the cable over to the next socket, running back downstairs and testing it. So days like today are fine, but it's days like Monday when I'm at the office doing paperwork and just generally shummying around, and then I look at my watch and go, oh darn, I've got to do 700 calories somewhere. So luckily it's I've got a road bike on a turbo trainer, which I sometimes jump on, and I did yesterday watching Inside Xbox. So flip the old Apple open in front of me and watch some TV while cycling. It's better than being outside.
Super.
Yeah, but sometimes I do have to go home and I look at the dog and go, do you want to go for one of those? And she looks at me like, really? I don't want to go. So it's like put the headphones on and go and listen to some podcasts.
Nice. That must be so cool. So whenever people are having conference calls with you, most of the time in the office, you're on your bike. You're kind of cycling like a madman.
Yeah. Luckily, if I ever do an episode of the pod and I'm panting a lot, it's don't get offended. It's nothing. It's nothing like that. I'm just trying to get my fitness done for the day.
Exactly. Just the horror of you doing the pod in stretchy pants. That's not something I can't want to see.
I don't even want that in my mind.
So how's your week been, sir? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. I had a family wedding at the weekend, so that was quite interesting. Got to see some cousins that I haven't seen for, must be nearly 20 years, some of them, because we're sort of all spread over the globe. But we all joined up locally. Some cousins came over my uncle came over from the Caribbean. My cousins came over from Ireland and a few other places around the world. So that was really good. And then, just sort of been hitting some games and actually really just been sort of trying to catch up with some TV. There's so much stuff on now. It's you sort of sit down after dinner and you flick on the Sky and you think, oh, watch this and watch that. So I jumped into trying to get my way through the Netflix Marvel, and but I'm trying to do them sort of like not in order, but I haven't watched. Is it the Defenders yet? Because I haven't watched all the individuals, but I'm on the last one, which is Iron Fist now. So I'm about 3 or 4 episodes into Iron Fist, so I'm just trying to keep up to date because I'm really enjoying those. So I'm sort of binge watching those really.
How are you enjoying Iron Fist? Because I know I liked it, but I know there was kind of a very divisive kind of. I know it was kind of hot and cold. Some people kind of when Iron Fist first came out, there were some mixed reviews.
I really like it. Actually, I've got to say, it was one of those things where I was playing some really annoying Xbox games, which we'll get onto later, and I was getting frustrated at them, and I just closed the Xbox down. I sort of rage quit the Xbox, as you do.
Yeah.
And I thought, what do I watch? And I'm like, and it was about 9:45 at night, so I thought, oh, let's start watching that. So I watched it, and I've got to say, from the episode 1, it was by far my favourite start. I was sort of very much like Daredevil and the Punisher. I really enjoyed. Obviously, I've done both seasons of Daredevil. Jessica Jones, I liked it, but I found that I was forcing myself to watch it.
Right.
Luke Cage, I think he's brilliant. I think he's a really good cast for that role. Because you do believe the character he's playing, that he is, he has come back from being, in inverted commas, dead. Yeah, I think so far I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
It's really cool. There's actually a second season of Iron Fist starts on the 7th of September.
Yeah, I saw that when I was, obviously, because Netflix are very well at promoting what's coming, unlike Amazon Prime that you can't find stuff on half the time. And I noticed that, so it's that classic case of just, trying to gently jog towards the point that you're trying to keep up with everything. I mean, it's not too bad because I don't really listen to many podcasts and that would talk about those types of programs. So you're not missing.
Right.
I'm not being spoiled or missing out on anything. But yeah, I mean, there's things like Mr. Robot on Amazon that I really enjoy. I've got to go back to watching that, but I just find myself either on Sky or on Netflix and not really going over to Amazon that much, and I keep forgetting about the stuff that's over there. So no. What about yourself? What have you been watching?
I think for me, the things I'm watching, just finished watching episode 4 of Making It.
I know. I was waiting for you.
That's why I was 15 minutes late to the pod. I'm very upset, actually, because my favourite crafter, I won't spoil it for anyone kind of who hasn't watched it, but my favourite crafter went out this week and I was gutted. I was like, no, it can't be. And then it was, and I was absolutely gutted. And obviously, well, I think we might have mentioned it last week, but the Bake Off is back next week as well, which I'm uber excited about. They did announce they showed pictures of the bakers, so which is really good. It's really interesting because you see this group of 12 strangers, and, and by the end of it, they become little baking buddies by the time you've finished the Bake Off. So that's one of the reasons why I just kind of absolutely love that program. But apart from that, I think we've been watching Castle Rock. So we've been watching Castle Rock, which is a Stephen King, J.J. Abrams program, which is just absolutely fantastic, and it's creepy as hell. But that's really good. The sound is a bit off, but we've been watching that. We've been watching Elementary as well, which is a big favourite in this house. So we like Johnny Lee Miller as Sherlock Holmes and Lucy Liu as Joan Watson. It's a really good kind of almost crime of the week show, and it's really good. It's a really good watch. Yeah,
Elementary is one of those ones which I've sort of looked because I like him as an actor, and but it's one of those ones where I've sort of looked and thought, there's so much back there to watch. I don't think I want to go back that far with the content, so I've not really jumped into it. A great bit of British Bake Off I really don't care about. I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry, everybody else who pods on this. But
this will be Stuart's last pod. Bye. Don't worry about that.
I gotta say, honestly, if you take a typical 3-course meal, the one thing I can go without is the baking, the dessert side of things, and if I'm watching sort of like Sunday brunch or a cooking program, I sort of glaze over when the desserts come on. I'm more of a starters and main course sort of guy. So I watched I don't think it's officially, I'm not sure, the replacement for Great British Bake Off on BBC, Britain's Best Home Cook, which I really enjoyed. I mean, I know it finished a while ago, but ironically, I stumbled across it on iPlayer whilst staying in a hotel for work. And then I sort of thought, well, actually, this is something that Kate and Molly might want to watch with me whilst we're chilling out on a Sunday. And so we just finished that, and that was really good. But I might now I am officially a co-host of the pod. I may well bring myself to watching the Great British Bake Off just for you, Anthony.
Well, it's either that or you don't appear on this show for 12 weeks. Yeah. How dare you?
or I'll be sitting here through 45-minute segments between you and James, just not saying anything. You'll be like, Stuart's still awake.
It's like, we'll bring you in. I remember like when James and I used to talk about it previously, and Darren would just kind of be very quiet during those segments. You just kind of wouldn't hear from him. But yeah, so apart from that, I think that's it really. I've been watching, like I say, kind of lots of like new TV. We watched a couple of weird movies at the weekend, but I think we've got Ocean's 8 this weekend. I think it might be Ocean's 8 this weekend. I'm not sure what's kind of coming out, but there's some good movies kind of this weekend, because it's for those in the UK, this pod should be out on Friday, but those in the UK, we've got a 3-day weekend, so a bit of DIY. We've got a project to do, painting of a wall and making things look nice, and then after that it's just some game time, and I've got some good games to play as well. So speaking of games, sir, what have you been playing?
I've been having a bit of a dip around this week. after I think it was the last pod I was on, you jumped back into Forza Horizon 2, and you planted a seed in my mind, and and I just basically I started it up, I think, after the pod or the next day, and I was shocked by the amount of stuff I still had to do. So I've pretty much been ramming that. I mean, I went and got the few remaining boards and things like that, and then I started looking at the Chivo list and noticed there was a load of Porsche or Porsche based ones. So I had a quick look, and the downloadable content for that was $3.99. So I thought, oh, what the hell? I'll jump into that. And yeah, I've really been hitting that. But it was, I think I must have got to anybody who's familiar with the Forza games. You a bit like Motorsport that we've all been playing. You sort of get to the end, and then it goes, congratulations, now try it again with all these more levels. And I think I must have done the end of Horizon Festival race, and then they throw back at you that you can go off and do more of them again and go for a second race. And I just looked at it and went, yeah, I really can't be bothered. So, and I jumped back in. So I would say to anybody who's got any of those types of games out there to jump back in, because I've been popping rare achievements all over the place. It's like, walk 5 feet, pop a rare achievement, turn around 3 times, pop a rare achievement. So been jumping into that's been really good. That's been my sort of like yourself, that's my go-to Sunday morning game, and just when I want to pick something up and play for 5 minutes. The other thing I did this week was I was acutely aware that my PlayStation and my PlayStation VR was very dusty, and I started thinking to myself that it's nearly 2 years since it came out, and I've probably done a maximum of about 8 hours on it, or 6 to 8 hours on it. So I knew there was a few things I wanted to play. So I one Sunday afternoon, I got my tools out, took the AV rack to pieces in the house, and basically took my PSVR up to the office, so I could set it up and use it. Because the problem I have at home is my TV is about 10 meters away from my AV rack, which is in a cupboard, and you can't really use PSVR that well if it's not got somewhere stable to sit on the camera, and that's usually the top of your TV. So I got a couple of PlayStation camera extension leads from America, plugged them in together, but the latency was so bad that I just couldn't play it. So it's always been one of those things that I've not really played. So this week I set it up at the office on my test bench, in inverted commas. It was purely for work, obviously.
Obviously.
And the first one I jumped into, well, I had Farpoint, which I've started up but not really played, because I managed to pick...
Is that the one with the gun?
Yeah, well, I managed to pick it up because it was like £130 when it came out for the game and the gun. And I managed to pick it up about 6 months ago or something like that for about £40, including the gun.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, in the interest of, product testing and things like that, I'd buy it and have a go. But that was sort of like, downloading and updating. But I jumped into Moss because I'd heard a lot of people play Moss, including yourself. And my God, that's a good game. It's
amazing, isn't it?
That's what I want from a VR game. It's... the only way I can describe it for anybody who hasn't played it, it's almost like what you would feel like. You're this little mouse and you're running around this landscape and you're controlling it with the controller, but it's almost like you're standing in the middle of a train set, and the train set is around you, but it's up at your sort of waist or your sort of like stomach height. So you're standing there watching and controlling this little mouse that interacts with you, but. Yeah, it was just, I found myself, can I go down there? And you're sort of like standing up and looking over, and brilliant. I'm only about an hour into it, but absolutely loved it. I mean, it's a fantastic game, and if they can keep on throwing content like that at PSVR, I'm happy I have chosen not to get rid of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first time that Moss sees you and waves to you, that's a real moment. You kind of really get this kind of sense, and as you say, kind of putting your head in and out of all and looking around in all of the kind of almost dioramas is fantastic, because you're trying to find those little kind of scrolls that are around the level, and you'll see one, or you kind of get yourself right in there there. I mean, at one point, I'm surprised I didn't fall off the kind of the footstool in the living room, because I was leaning on it, and I'm glad I knew where it was, because I was leaning on it just to try and see kind of where it was and how I could get Moss there. And like I say, I think later on, when you start playing it a bit later and get kind of in the later levels, there's bits where you have to almost hold something. So you have to always hold a drawbridge open while you're controlling Moss. And there's just things like that. It's just the kind of multi kind of angles and all of the different things you're controlling. It just feels absolutely amazing. And, like you say, it is like looking down at a very kind of interactive toy set, isn't it? And just kind of seeing that. But it's just stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
And that's it. I think if they could keep on putting content like that out for it, which is just gives you that different perspective on a game, then I'm still sold on the format. So and then literally I'd set it up, and I hadn't switched it on for ages, including the PlayStation, to be honest. So it had a few updates to do and downloads, and then whilst it was downloading, I left it on over one night, or in standby one night, and it was downloading, and then I saw that it pop up that there was a demo of Transference, the new Ubisoft game, which is I think isn't it the one in conjunction with, is it Elijah Wood?
Is that the one? Is that the one that they were talking about at Ubisoft's E3 conference?
That's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's the one. But I sort of looked at it and I thought, not sure about this, whether I'm going to like this sort of thing, because it's a bit sort of creepy. And then I thought, well, in the interest of the pod, and I thought, well, I've got it set up, and I had a little bit of time to kill yesterday afternoon, so I set it to download, and jumped into that, and it's probably 20 minutes long, I think, and you basically you're in a hallway in this house, and then you walk around the house, and you find a set of keys, and then you go back, you open the basement, you go down, and then if you flick a light switch, it goes to a different time period, and you put a picture on the wall, and then this little boy comes out, and I think it's to do with PTSD, and it sort of has a bit of the beginning. A TV screen with a doctor saying, "This is the way forward." It's 2003, I think. It's a video, which the first thing I thought was the video they're showing was shot in 2003. It looked like it had been shot in 1983, because it was all like videotapey, like when someone breaks into a base and finds an old videotape that's recorded saying the end of the world's going to happen. And then you're thrown into this room, and you hear this boy's voice, and you see a boy's shadow, and then you're just wandering around, which actually I think it's sort of like a corridor upstairs, but there's a living room and a kitchen, and then you go downstairs into the basement, and you just have to do a series of things, and every now and again the light switch gets switched off and switched back on again, either by you or this boy, and then you keep on finding things to do, and it ends up with one thing it ended up with was, if you put a picture on the wall, the light goes off, you come back on again, and then you've jumped forward to 2002, I think, and then there's this guy looking at the photograph you've just put up, and so you sneak up behind him, and he turns around with a shotgun and shoots you, and it scared the bejeebers out of me. And then I kept on thinking, well, there must be a way. I must have to do this and go round him. So I must have done it 5 times in a row, and every single time it just scared the living bejeebers out of me. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this is one reason I really don't want to play this game. But then I found actually you ignore him and go downstairs, and some weird stuff happens, and then basically the game ends. But it's interesting. It might be one of those things I wait until it comes out on free games or comes down cheap. But it seems interesting. I'd be interested to see what other people's reviews are, because I think it is actually out to buy and play now. Yeah, but I think it's basically about PTSD. You're living the dreams of this person, so you're reliving their thoughts and their dreams in VR, and it plays around the fact that you put your VR goggles on to live in their head, to see their world. So it's certainly a good idea. I don't think that's ever been done before, but it's worth.
It's definitely novel.
Yeah, it's worth blowing off the VR and downloading it. It didn't take long to download either. It was downloaded in about. Well, I mean, I've got slow internet at the office, so it downloaded in about 20 minutes. So it's worth jumping in and having a look.
Oh yeah, no, I'll check that out. It sounds like it's, like I say, it sounds like it could be worthwhile getting it out of the cupboard. And I haven't actually, since I've been down in the movie room, I haven't got the PSVR back together because of the whole kind of HDR kind of pass through on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I haven't even bothered with it. I haven't set it up. It's not connected. So yeah, no, it sounds good though. It sounds like it may tempt me to connect that, and the fact that there is Star Trek Next Gen DLC for Bridge Crew as well, which we spoke about last time. But it's just like, yeah, and that's what I think my PlayStation VR, probably similar to you as well, is like you'll accrue enough games to almost last a day, so you can then just go, right, I'm going to play some VR today, because it is very much, you are switching yourself off from everyone else, which is good that you're over in the office, quote unquote working, but it is kind of like, I'll get 10 things to do, and it's worthwhile getting the PSVR out, and I think that's kind of where I am now with it. I think I genuinely was re-surprised when I put it back on. I think every time I put the VR on, when I'm not playing it, I think, oh, it's a faff and whatever. But then when I start playing it, I instantly go, like the beginning of Moss, when you're in like that church cathedral, and you're looking up and looking around, going, blimey, this really is immersive. And I played the first 10 minutes of Farpoint. You start off in a spaceship. The spaceship crashes. You're on the planet. But in a little bit like Star Trek, you're in actually probably not Star Trek, but Battlefront, the Star Wars one. They did the VR. You're a bit like that, where you're in the spaceship and you're looking around, and you just think, this is so immersive. I stare down and I've got the cockpit in front of me. I look left, I look right, and I've got planets around me. So I think from a point of view of having it, and playing it for the last, only for a few hours, I'm reassured with the fact of my purchase, and I don't think I'll get rid of it, because I like the fact that I've got it, and I can vary up my gaming and play some of these things that come out, even if I don't like them, and because I don't think the user base of it is, I think it's 3 million units worldwide, which PlayStation say they're happy with. But I think you're going to get more trailers and more demos on the VR side of it. So I think that, I think that's good. I think that's good. So, but yeah, other than that, I jumped into Dead Cells. And and on our little docket in front of me, I put Dead Cells Help. Right.
Yeah. I have rage quit it a few times.
Right.
I don't know what the hell's going on most of the time. I can't seem to get to the second world in any time quicker than 2 minutes. So I keep on getting to a door that is permanently locked.
Yes.
And I always seem to be dying in the second world, no matter how careful I am. So it's I've been dipping in and out of it and playing it, and I don't understand why I'm rubbing things and why I'm tickling things.
Well, the thing is you have to kind of, for the rubbing and the tickling, I'm still rubbing because I haven't found that rune. But, what we were talking about in last week's podcast, episode 132, was that you have to find a rune. And so you find a rune, and then that kind of makes the tickling kind of do something. So that kind of turns the tickling into a vine. And that way you can climb the vine and get to some of the places where maybe you couldn't jump to.
Right.
But the whole point of those doors is that those doors are there for speedrun, as James and I was talking about last week. I don't think I've got to a timed door in enough time to open it. I'm always a couple of seconds or a minute just out, and they're always there. But that's not the way to the next world. That's just a way to a bonus area, to get some extra cells. So what you need to do is obviously traverse them, go from left to right on the map, up and down, and find either, I think in the first area, you'll have the toxic sewer, which is a horrible place, and I still hate it. Toxic sewer, or you'll have another area, and so you've got kind of two areas that you can jump to from the first section.
Right.
So, and then they take you to those, and then so what I found now is that I've used up So every time you get to the midsection, or every time you beat one of the worlds, you get to an area where you can cash in your cells, you can then mutate and upgrade and replenish your health as well. And I've found that I've been putting in a lot of cells into randomly giving me a really decent weapon. So now when I start, I'm kind of almost starting with an electric whip or a really good crossbow. So that's kind of making the first level a lot more straightforward now. So I can now just take my time. I'm never speed running because I've realised, I think James and I both said that last week, that we've realised that we can't get to these places in time. So what we're doing is we're just taking our time and getting as many cells as we can, and then cashing those in. I think I'm going for more health at the moment, but that's like about 250 cells in order to unlock health flask 3, I think.
Right.
So I'm kind of doing that. So that's kind of my rinse and repeat, and whenever I get to one of those midsections. But so I'm still finding that I get past the first boss in most runs, unless I'm having a real mare of a run. I get past the first boss, and then it's kind of in that next level that I die. But I do find myself there is a couple of levels where towards the end I'm running low on health, and I find myself just running. I'm just like, I'm running to the end, and I'm just pegging it, throwing things behind me to maybe try and stop like things flying at me or swordy guys kind of zooming into me, So I'm just like, I am just running because I find that I'm gonna die if I stay here. I've got one of those mutations or one of those upgrades that gives you just a little bit more every time you kill someone.
Yeah.
But that's not going to get me through this level. So I'm just running and then getting to the next one, replenishing my health, and then kind of getting on. And I think that's the kind of joy of it. I'm in London on Friday, and I was thinking this morning, I was like, I can't wait to play Dead Cells. I'm literally going to sit down on the train, quickly run through the metro, because that's a load of rubbish anyway, and quickly run through the metro and then just play Dead Cells. Just like, because I think that for me is just that kind of like I say, it's that loop that I'm in, that run loop that I'm in.
I've got to say, I found it, like I said earlier about Forza, it is that I am finding it's that type of game that I'm just going. Tonight, actually, to be honest, the girls had Kate had gone to the office to do some work. Molly's in bed, and it was about 10:02, and I'm set up waiting to pod at 1:15, Anthony, not 1:30, 1:15.
Blame Nick Offerman and Amy Pooler. That's
and I thought, oh, well, let's have a quick run, and I'm finding myself sort of starting it up, and actually going back to I think it was last week's conversation. The Xbox does pick up from where you left off, because I'm playing it on the Xbox. Cool. So it is still like, if you I haven't tried it where I've quit it and gone to another game, but if you do like you do with Forza or anything like that, you just stop for the night and you turn your Xbox off. When you turn your Xbox back on, it will go back to where you left it, even if that's mid-game, mid-run. So a bit like sleeping the Switch. But yeah, I'm sort of going through the first level, picking up cells, picking up scrolls and things like that, and then I sort of get to a point where I'm going through to the Promenade of the Condemned, is it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get through there, and you go down that first bit, and I think the closest I've got was 3 seconds to that timed gate when I speed run it. But then I start going back upstairs, and then I get to those teleporting knife people. And I just get so far into that, and then spikes start to come out and balls start to swing around, and I'm going to die in a minute. And
what do you use as your grenades? What do you use? Because I found that yesterday when I was playing, I found that traps. I think James and I were talking about it before, but I found that like traps and that little turret work really well. They're the kind of like, just when I see those knifey guys, and there's maybe the pink ones that throw those balls, and there's the zombies, the green ones. I just try and jump onto there, drop both of those things, and then peg it back. Wait for just let them do some carnage, do some damage, and then I go back in, and then kind of pick up after all of that. And I found that worked really well.
Turret things I've not found yet. I've missed them or I've not come across them yet.
Right.
I think I've always got. I quite like throwing knives. but then I quite like swords and I quite like arrows. It's a bit of a, but then I think the traps I think are good, and then the freeze grenades as well. I've been sort of playing around with those, so it's again, I think it's one of those things that I've probably played it for about an hour and a half, a couple of hours,
right?
And I think as you say, I mean, it's funny because it's like I can speak about it now, but listening to you guys as I think I was going to site last week, speaking to you guys, it was like you were waffling on. You could have been speaking gibberish. I had no idea what you were saying. It was an entertaining pod number 132. It was very entertaining. But I'm like, you guys were chatting away, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're saying. And now, then when I started playing it, I'm like, yeah. And then now we're having this conversation. It's sort of all starting to gel together. So, yeah, it's a good game. I mean, I think if it had been any more on the Xbox, I probably wouldn't have bought it. Yeah, I think at the moment it's scratching my itch for that. Quickly jump in and play. But it's probably the game that I'm rage quitting more than I've ever rage quit anything in my life.
I'm finding myself that kind of I'm about to go to bed, about to just kind of come up, and I'm finding myself just grabbing the Switch and just sitting there and playing it. I'll just do a run. Yeah. Because a run could be 20 minutes, it could be an hour. And I'm just like, I'm really loving it. I must admit though, it's quite funny because it's the animations in the game are awesome. I think James and I were talking about it last week. When you kick open a chest, just the whole kind of fighting. But I docked my Switch, which is something that I never do. Yeah. I docked my Switch and kind of looked at it on the big TV. Oh my God, it's like, wow, this is pixely on the big TV. It really is kind of like, it lends itself really well to that small screen on the Switch. It really does look really good on the Switch. But I was finding myself, I enjoyed it, but it is a game where, similar to Forza, I'll happily sit there listening to something else, listening to some music, listening to a podcast, and then just playing that, not kind of listening to the soundtrack of that. I know this year it's me kind of listening to games a bit more, but after I think about half an hour of listening to that, I was like, I just was like, hey Siri, play some Prince, and just like put Prince on, and then while I was playing Dead Cells, and it was just really good fun. And but no, God, that on a big screen looks very pixelated. It looks very. I know it's the art style, I know it's what they're looking for, but I was like, whoa, I wasn't prepared for that.
It'll be interesting to see. Is it got a demo on the Switch, or is it just a straight buy?
No, I think it's just a straight buy. I don't think there is a demo. No, I haven't seen a demo kind of pop in, but it's really lovely on the Switch because, like I say, especially with me doing travelling at the moment, it's just it lends itself really well.
I'd recommend it. I mean, I definitely would recommend it for that sort of like it's sort of like that retro side-scrolling sort of itch. It's a good game, and I think if I was doing more travelling or I found myself generally using my Switch more, I would definitely have it on there, and I may well put it on there as well. But sort of like my go-to device has always been in the house. I'm generally on my own, especially in school holidays because my wife works from home. So unfortunately, she has a 7-year-old to look after during the day, and then she generally works. Like now, she's gone upstairs to do the work. So I'm generally finding that I'm on the Xbox in the evening, and I mean, I'm liking it on the big screen, and you can see a bit more. But yeah, it is very frustrating, but very enjoyable in a frustrating type of way.
Yes, it's very much kind of one of those games where you would, I think I would pick it up on another console, or I would recommend buying it on the Switch if your progress switched between, if you could take your progress with you, that would be fantastic. But the fact of kind of starting it on the Xbox with like kind of no progression seems scary to me now. I've invested on the Switch. I'm playing on the Switch. Like I say, I'm in London. I've got a couple of travels next week as well. So I'm really kind of like, I'm all in on the Switch. But I was very, like I say, I mean, I highly recommend it. I mean, for me, this is an early contender for one of my Game of the Year. This is kind of because I bought it because I had 3 travels coming, and Matt was talking a lot about it. I was like, he sounds like he is having a whale of a time, so I'm gonna jump in, and and I'm so glad that we always listen to Matt, obviously, but I'm so glad that I listened to Matt because it was just such a great game, and it's just got me so addicted to the fact fact that I am just sitting there thinking, I'm going to play it, I want to play it. Even the other night, I was laying in bed and I was like, I wasn't that sleepy, so I just decided to start playing it, and I was like, I ended up falling asleep playing like Dead Cells, but I was just like, it was just fantastic. I love it. It's such a great game.
So what else have you been playing then?
So for me, I have been playing, I think I spoke about it last week, I've been playing Walking Dead Episode 1, finished Episode 1 of the final season of Walking Dead, and that was good, that was really good. It finished on a note that I love these kind of episodic games, because a lot of them, they especially things like Walking Dead, they almost need to come with a lot in the first episode, because they need you to be able to say, yep, I'm going to buy the season pass, or yep, I'm going to buy the next episode. And this episode finished with the end scene. I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't ready, and I was just like, wow. I just sat there for a moment, just like, oh. There's a couple of games that got me. Things like Life is Strange got me with a couple of the ends of their episodes, but this one was like, oh, okay, I wasn't ready for that. But it was a really good build. So Clementine's story really is kind of like this. They say this is the end of Clementine's story, but right now, and I won't give any spoilers, but they've kind of come across this school full of kids, and so it's just Clementine really and AJ settling into this school, and all's not what it seems, and that's as far as I go without spoiling. And it's a really good first episode. I really am enjoying it and can't wait for the next episode kind of later on in September. But it's just, it was great. So I'm absolutely loving that. Like I said last week, there's this art style that they have, which is they kind of have almost like a graphic novel background. So you have the very cel-shaded foreground and characters, but the background just seems to be very cel-shaded, very kind of graphic novel looking and very interesting. And I just love it. I just found myself just taking screenshots and looking at them later, and just it was like, oh, I'll take a picture of that, and Xbox record that, and it was just very much kind of it's fantastic. I love it. I'm so glad that it's back, and I didn't fall off, I didn't get bored, but I just kind of got a bit fed up with Batman and Guardians of the Galaxy, because I think the engine just wasn't, it kept breaking on me, it kept crashing, but this one just seems to be very, it seems very robust, and I'm silently kind of hoping that, obviously this is the end of that engine, but I'm silently hoping that they kind of really do put a lot of effort into kind of the Walking Dead final season to just really give it everything that it needs to kind of send Clem off in a good way, I guess I'm saying.
In a casket, you mean?
No, I told you. R.I.P. R.I.P. Clem is the title of the last episode. It's not, but it should be. But so I've been playing that, and then on Sunday night, 8 of us jumped into the Sea of Thieves. So it's our regular Sea of Thieves update. You feel like this should be like a little jingle, Sea of Thieves theme tune playing in the background. But so 8 of us jumped into Sea of Thieves, 2 galleons going off on their separate quests. So I jumped into a galleon with 3 other people, and we went and did the Cursed Sails quest. So it was up on the Reddit for Sea of Thieves at what time the cursed ships would be appearing, and I think it was about 9 o'clock. So about 8:30, we all jumped in and we kind of set sail to where we needed to set sail, which was just beyond an outpost. And so we were there, and this was the first time that I'd done Cursed Sails. I'd have a bit of a sail around. I've kind of had a look at the hub area and all of that sort of stuff on my own, but this is the first time I kind of taken to a group and taken to the galleon. So we were sailing around, 9 o'clock kind of struck, and then we were still kind of sailing around kind of where we should be. All of us are going, well, I wonder what's going to happen, I wonder where it's going to be, and then suddenly this ship just appeared out of the waves and it just crashes out of the waves, just comes from nowhere, this skeleton ship, and it was magnificent. It was incredible the way that this ship just broke the water. So we were sailing in an area, so the person who was the captain of our galleon she put it into a full lock. So we put it into a full lock, and then so we were just basically, we half sailed, or I think some of the sails all the way up, put it into a full lock. So we were pretty much just circling this area. At this point, we kind of another ship had come in. We'd made an alliance with them. So there was 2 galleons going at these skeleton ships, and at this point, another one kind of came out of the water as well, and it was so much fun. We were boarding the ship. I was firing Phil off into the ship. We were doing some crazy stuff. We were taking a barrel and taking it downstairs and detonating it. And we were getting hit as well. And we took out 2 skeleton ships. 3 skeleton ships, and then we realised that we'd run out of cannonballs and we'd run out of planks, because this is how much you really need to pummel these ships. So we'd run out of all of that. So we turned around and we headed off to an outpost to get some more cannonballs and planks. And even that was great, because one of the skeleton ships started chasing us. So out the back, you just had this skeleton ship just like chasing us, and it was just so much fun. And then in the end, they just turned off and went back to our alliance, who we left on their own. And then so we quickly went there, grabbed all of the supplies, and then straight back into battle, and then we took out another 2 after that. And I think we did it for about, I think we finished about just before 11, so it was probably about 8ish to 11ish, and it was just so much fun. Seeing those pirate ships just crash out of the waves, and then all of the different cursed cannonballs that were coming our way that made you look like you'd been hit, bitten by a snake, or there was one where I was turned into a skeleton. There was all of this kind of all this kind of craziness that was happening, and it was just so much fun. It really was. We were, like I say, we were boarding them, we were just having just an absolute blast, and just that excitement of when they came out was just so much fun. And I was watching a Sea of Thieves, their developer kind of update, their weekly developer update, and they were saying that the Cursed Sails is having an extra week. So I think as time of pod, I think there's still one more week of the Cursed Sails to go. So I think kind of like this, it's available until maybe next week. And even then, I think the ships are going to go into the rotation. I think James was saying last week, and that means you'll be able to collect cursed cannonballs and things like that, and it was so much fun. We got a lot of loot. So I was on one galleon with 3 other friends, and James was on another galleon with another 3 friends. And James's haul, he took a couple of pictures and sent some pictures, and his haul was incredible. We're like, why didn't we get all of these? Because as one of these pirate ships sink, all of the skulls and the chests and everything, they all bubble up to the surface. But somehow, I think you might have to swim onto the wreckage as well, because James picked up some serious chests with like skeletons kind of like wrapped around the chest. And so even though we were very proud of our haul, James just kind of gazumped us, because he had a pretty awesome haul. But it was, the alliance that we got, which was from another ship, and they weren't on mic, or we couldn't hear them. I think Phil at one point could talk to them on PC. It was a bit weird. But this guy was basically going onto the skeleton ship, stealing cannonballs and filling up our cannonballs. And he also kind of found a chest in the sea and gave us out and put the chest on our ship. Because at one point I was because this is the first time I've come across this, I was very guarded, because suddenly he went into where we put our chests, and I was like, he's gone in, guys, he's gone in. I got my blunderbuster out. I was ready to take this fool out because he was trying to steal our loot. But it turns out he was actually adding to our loot, and he was adding to it. So, and he was like really good. So he was basically just like between the 2 ships, giving them cannonballs, giving them everything that we needed, and it was a really cool gaming moment. We finished just before 11, and Nicola was already asleep, so I just kind of crept into bed and just laid there, really excited, because I was like, how am I supposed to sleep now? I'm gonna have to watch something.
It's like it was Christmas Eve.
It really was. I just laid there just really excited, really kind of hyper from a really good gaming session. And it was just so much fun.
I think that's it. I think I'm a bit guilty. I haven't jumped in as much as I would want to, but you sort of see people going, oh, no, it should be a bit more PvE sort of content in there, but
yeah,
I think whenever you hear people talking about it, it's these experiences. I mean, I think if I'm rightly, I saw a tweet from James. It was either last night or this morning, and him saying about he had one of his worst experiences last night, and he was bailing the ship out for 10 minutes to stop it from sinking or something like that. And you're just thinking, following James on Twitter and seeing you guys and listening to the pod when I'm not on it. Everybody seems to be having a laugh, and I think and as long as Rare have got that content, and obviously we've got more content coming, I think people are just having great times, and I think that's what's great about this game is that you can sit and play Dead Cells, and you can sit and play The Walking Dead or Moss or whatever, but those experiences like we have as when we're playing, when we will be playing Forza Horizon 4 in a few weeks, a month, and I think you're getting those experiences, and I think that's what's great about the world we're in, whether it's PlayStation or PC or Xbox or cross-platform, is that you're having these great nights together of 2-3 hours of just sheer excitement and sheer fun, which is bringing great memories and great conversations. I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely. One of the wonders and one of the awesomeness about Sea of Thieves is kind of one of the guys I played with, it was the first time I'd played with her, so I hadn't really I think when we had our going for gold, I think Ree was on another team, so I hadn't really played with her. I hadn't been on a ship, and this was the first time, and you're instantly gelling, you're having a laugh, you're having a good time, and it was fantastic. And she, Ree and Shep and Phil, my kind of galleon, they were all awesome, and we were all just kind of taking turns, and it was a well-oiled machine. And I didn't have James Thomas shouting at me because I was kind of on the anchor too much, even though I must admit though we did miss James because we did bank our galleon twice when we were turning stuff in. We were almost parked on the shore, and so we're like, James would have never have let this happen, and it was just like, but it was so much fun, just like I say, just strangers coming together, enjoying themselves, having a great fun. Even that random guy that came in that we weren't talking to, and I think half of that was our fault because we weren't in game chat, we were in party chat, so maybe some of that was our fault, but even that was just like, it was great fun, just jumping up and down, playing music while we're sailing to the next place. It's such a great game, and like I say, we'll get to the news of the next wave of content in a bit, but yeah, no, I just absolutely enjoyed it. It was such a great gaming session on Sunday night.
Excellent. Well, I was gonna say, when you said that we turned away from the cursed sails and went in the opposite direction quickly, I'm thinking there's no way you're driving, because you would have been going around in circles.
I just handbraked it. At one point, my handbraking skills worked, because when we were sailing to this point where the skeleton crews were coming up out of the ocean, there was another galleon was trying to catch us, and they were off on the distance, and they kind of turned round and they started coming to us. Now, they came to a ship of a group of lovely people all waving at them, but they had their skull and crossbow flag flying, so we thought maybe they are like a bit sinister, so they had that. So what we did was, and they were catching us, and they were coming along line, and we saw the pirates standing there, so we was wondering maybe they were about to fire on us. At that point we had no loot whatsoever. So what we did was I just pulled anchor and then stopped our boat dead center, just like stopped it in a straight line, and the other boat just sailed straight past.
All right.
So it was so cool. It was like, I'm sure I've seen that move in like Fast and Furious.
I was about to say, you've been watching too much Fast and Furious. You had your Vin Diesel t-shirt on.
Exactly. So I just dropped the anchor, and then they just sailed straight past us, and then we just kind of went, and we banked off into an easterly direction, and then off we went. And that kind of, and I don't think they were the ones that were alliancing with us, but it just showed that, hey, we're going to outrun you. We're smarter than you guys. So they just kind of disappeared off into the distance. But it was just that. So at that one time, even Thomas would have been proud of those decent handbraking skills. I think even Thomas would have been. So that's what I've been playing. Like I say, I think This weekend, I've got Shenmue 1 and 2. So Shenmue 1 and 2 has appeared from Boomerang. So I think this week I'm going to have a bit of kind of old school Shenmue fun. So I've installed it on the smaller TV Xbox. So maybe that might be better. Maybe that might be a bit more forgiving with the game. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll report back next week.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into a bit more. We've touched, I've been playing Overcooked 2 on my own, and and then it does. I think Steve was saying it does get a bit tricky on your own. I mean, I admire Nicola so much. How the hell she can do it on her own is amazing.
Twice,
but I gotta say, after you saying last week about how Nicola won't let you win, so you get the achievement of winning. The little light bulb went off above my head. So on Saturday morning, when my 7-year-old turned around and went, "Can I play?" I'm like, yes, let's play some verses. And that was the easiest achievement I've ever had. and
your daughter was there crying, but you were happy.
She was crying, but it was more the fact that she was trying to make sushi and she couldn't quite get to grips with what was going on, rather than me just throwing vegetables at her. So, but no, I've been sort of playing around with that. But I think. We were supposed to be going away this weekend, but we've had to sort of step away from that. So I think we've got a child's birthday party to go to on Saturday, and then I think Saturday morning, Sunday, we might sit down and do some family Overcooked, and then sleep in separate bedrooms for the next 3 days.
Separate houses. Yeah. You'll be in your office. You'll be sleeping in the office. Make sure you got a blow-up bed ready so when you get evicted.
Definitely.
Awesome.
I'll take the tents up there.
Yes, indeed. So excellent. So right, and on that note, let's start the news section. But before we start the news, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes and also on YouTube. So in the news section this week, we have a whole bunch of news from Gamescom, Battlefield 5 beta details, that's hard to say, and also there's breaking news that there could be no Assassin's Creed next year. But Stu, the first piece of news is kind of, I guess, Gamescom. Gamescom is happening right now as we are podding. We are podding on the Wednesday, so Gamescom, the kind of press side of Gamescom kicked off yesterday, and Microsoft kind of kicked off Gamescom in such a good way. They had a inside Xbox. Certainly, I think one of the standouts from me was that Halo in Forza Horizon 4. So they had a bit. They had Ralph Fortin and AC Bongos. It was like two Scotsmen just having a good old chat. And one of the things that they announced was that Halo is going to be in Forza 4. Now, we had Halo in Forza Horizon 3. We had a Warthog, and I love my SpongeBob Warthog, which is totally canon. So we had the Warthog in Halo in Forza Horizon 3, but in Forza Horizon 4, they've kind of taken it just that one step further. So they've taken it to a point where we actually have, on the Forza Horizon map, there is a Halo showcase event. And I guess for those people that maybe haven't played Forza Horizon 3, what are you doing? You should play it. It's like Forza Horizon has these showcase events. So whether it's kind of trying to beat a train or trying to beat a rocket, a jet fighter, or just all these kind of very kind of bonkers levels that they have. And they're such great fun to kind of not only just play once, but just to play a couple of times. But they have a Halo showcase event in which you kind of, your Master Chief, I think when you kind of go in, there is a cutscene and you see Master Chief there, and Master Chief jumps into a Warthog, and then I think he's chasing a pelican and maybe kind of racing against a pelican, I think they were saying, and the whole showcase is just Halo themed.
You've just given me a good idea then, you saying racing a rocket. What about if they took it to took Forza to the moon? And you're racing buggies around the moon in 0G.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, that's Forza, right? Or it might be that might be the Hot Wheels expansion pack for this year. Moon racing.
Oh yeah, Mars. Imagine Mars.
If you're listening, Playground, that was my idea. But no, I mean, I watch. I mean, anything. I mean, I'm trying. It's one of those things where it's a little bit like yourself with movie trailers, where sometimes you'll watch the first movie trailer and you won't watch the others, and you definitely won't read the review. I'm sort of trying to keep myself away from Forza Horizon 4 because I I've bought it. I bought the Ultimate Edition, as I've said before. I know some people might go, "What the hell are you doing that? It's free on Game Pass." But it's one of those classic cases for me whereby I enjoy Game Pass, but I enjoy Forza so much more that I want to purchase it. I want to get the stuff you get when you have the Ultimate Edition, so I'm happy to do that. And just adding things like this is just brilliant. The showcase events are great. They are just, you work towards them, you do them, and they're brilliant. And bringing in some cross game or cross platform sort of characters just takes it to another level. So I can't wait.
Yes.
So looking forward to it.
This looks, I mean, and I hope that after that event you then unlock a Warthog, because that would just be, I need that Warthog, because that is really cool when you're kind of racing like kind of 4x4 or off road. There's something about the Warthog, and it was always great whenever we were doing Forza Horizon 3 having that all Warthog race. At the end of the night we're going to do that. And one of the things from the stream when Ralph was talking to Graham Boyd was that they were talking about that they are really kind of focusing on teams this year. So there's a lot of team stuff. So not only, I mean, we've had fun before playing Infected and racing, and we had people coming in from the Lost Spark Car Club. We were racing. We had a great night of kind of lots of people racing. But this time you can actually build a group, and you can actually take that group. So not only will I'll let everyone down because I'm always back of the pack, but it's just a case of I can double people from the back, I can take them out, and I can but I just love that idea of actually building. Not only are you building a car club, but you're also building a group that you can then just kind of take out and race against other people. And I just think it's just going to add a whole new dimension to our kind of Sunday night Forza.
Well, I did, if I'm right in thinking, I did see there was a few things I saw which was in Infected you can actually cure people now. So if you're not infected, you can hit, I don't know how it's going to work, but if you're not infected, you can hit someone who is infected and cure them. So it makes the game go on longer, which is just brilliant, because all Warthog Infected was brilliant. But if you can, rather than just all of us teaming up on Antony, who's screaming like a child whilst driving, and a handbrake turning. I think if it then goes from, let's say 8 of you being infected and 2 of you not, and then flipping back, and then all of a sudden you've got 4 of you who are not infected. It just adds on so much play to it, and I think
it really does.
And I think also that, if I'm right in thinking, he said something along the lines of, if you're in front, you'll always be in front, no matter where you are, or something like that. So it's almost like you could see that if you take shortcuts, even though you're not sticking to the route, if you manage to find a shortcut, there might not be checkpoints. You might not be punished so much as you would have done before. So it is, all out, balls out racing sort of thing. If you think you can get there quicker driving up and over a cliff, then you will, and you do, then you're in front. So I can't wait. I can see so many Sunday nights just being, IPAs and visits to the toilet and 3 hours of Forza.
It's just so much fun. It just looks like, I do like that idea, that because there were some races where obviously you're out in front, maybe you just used Manny as a way of getting around the corner and maybe just missed that checkpoint, so you go to the back, and then it's just, there's nothing worse than kind of being kind of out in front, having that exhilaration, and you're at the back and then you're trying to catch up, and it's just, but it's just, I can't wait. It's about 5 weeks away. It's about 5 weeks away now, and it's going to be just amazing. And every time I see that game, I'm like you, I'm desperate for more information about the multiplayer mode and all of that, but at the same time I kind of want to discover all of the interface and the options that are there. I want to kind of almost discover all of that myself. So as much as I'm trying to soak up information, at the same time I don't want to see too much, but it's it's not far off now, and I am uber excited about that game and cannot wait to play some more Forza Horizon, especially now that we know there's even more Halos in there.
Yes, definitely. Cannot wait. Looking forward to that one. So talking about Halo,
Speaking of Halo, here is a galactic segue. So Halo Master Chief Collection, which is a fantastic set, fantastic batch of games, which is Halo 1 through to 4 and also ODST. Halo Master Chief Collection is coming to Game Pass. So it's going to be coming to Game Pass on the 1st of September, which is time of podding. It's only kind of a week. It's not this weekend, it's next weekend. So it's actually coming on a Saturday. So the 1st of September is a Saturday. So it's coming on a Saturday. The Master Chief Collection is coming to Game Pass. But not only that, it's also going to be coming in 4K and HDR. So 343 announced in this Gamescom event, they announced that 1 through to 4 and ODST are all going to be coming to all going to be coming in 4K HDR, 60 frames a second as well. And all of this will be free if you're in Game Pass. So I have been holding off replaying Halo, or all of the Halos. I've been playing them off again because I've been waiting for this 4K HDR update, and I cannot wait to jump into the anniversary edition of Halo, but then also seeing that in 4K HDR is going to be something special. I'm quite looking forward to it.
I think, I mean, I will honestly say Halo was the game that started me playing that type of game. It was when it came out originally on the Xbox, it was like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is not my type of game, but everybody's raving about it. It was obviously Microsoft's own sort of content, and I jumped into it, and I can honestly say that really got me into that genre of gaming. And I'm like you, I know they had some issues with it when it was released before on physical media, but yeah, I mean, I just looking forward to jumping back into it, and going back to Master Chief originally, and just watching the show reel yesterday of showing some scenes, and when they were showing the scissor reel, you just saw some clips. I remember that, and you're just thinking, it's just going to be not so much the multiplayer stuff, but the single story stuff. Yeah, I'm there. I'll play through the whole lot again, definitely, especially as it's in 4K HDR.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when the Master Chief Collection came out, Nicola and I, we sat down and we played the whole thing, 1 through to 4, and then, like you say, they had some problems. They had quite a lot of problems at kind of launch day, so they gave a lot of people ODST for free, and we played that again. But I still, the great thing about the Master Chief Collection is you can mix and match. So you can almost set up a playlist. So you go, right, I want to play this level from 1. I want to play this. I want to play all the. If you hate yourself, I want to play all the flood levels from all of the Halos, and then you can just play those. And you're jumping from 1 to 3 to 4. And it's just so much fun. And so I want to kind of have I kind of can see myself as playing that. I did join the Insider program for the Master Chief Collection, but I just couldn't get it to download. Right. I just couldn't get it to install. It kept saying, you already have this. I'm like, great, well, let's play it, and it just wouldn't let me launch it. So I was like, I'm not going to get frustrated. It's going to come out eventually. And yesterday we found out when that is, and that's only kind of a week away. So that is the 1st of September. So I'm, like I say, if you're in a Game Pass, or if you've been kind of on the edge of Game Pass, then it's so great. You can play Halo 1 through to 5 with ODST for quote-unquote free via Game Pass.
And I think, if I'm right in thinking, didn't they announce they're doing a special for Game Pass, which was $2 for 2 months or something like that? I don't know if it's coming over here, but I'm pretty sure I saw them saying they were doing you pay like $2 or pounds or whatever it'll be for 1 month, and then you get the second month free. So I think if you do that for September, you've got Master Chief Collection, and you'll get a bit of Forza in with that as well.
And not only that, you will also get Sea of Thieves, Forsaken Shore.
Wow, we're on fire!
And speaking on fire, so is Sea of Thieves, because it just doesn't stop. You can just hear James raging. I can hear him in the future raging. So Forsaken Shores is coming to Sea of Thieves. So on September 19th, we have the Forsaken Shores. And so what this is is. It's another one of these timed sections where you have to. I don't know if they said kind of how long it was going to be for, but we have. So we'll all be adventuring off to Devil's Roar, and Devil's Roar is a volcanic area of the map, and it looked treacherous. Looked incredible, but looked treacherous. There is every now and then, randomly, volcanoes will erupt, which will send cannonball-sized boulders your way, flaming boulders your way. So much so that they've included a rowboat for the Forsaken Shores. So you park your galleon, your sloop, your brigantine kind of a little bit far out, just so you won't get hurt by the volcanic lava, and then you row the boat in, and then you do your control. They also had this really cool clip where they showed someone kind of almost pegging it through this volcanic island, and they were being pushed up by like kind of steam and geysers, and were kind of throwing them in the air, and there was just lava kind of hitting left, right, and centre, and it looked like it was going to be an absolute ton of fun.
Is this the one that James has been working on? Yeah, I thought I remember
yes.
this one. Yeah, I mean, it looked stunning. I mean, it's I mean, from the screenshots they showed, it just looks it just looks like the gorgeousness of the ocean, and the water is going all out across the lava, and I think it's just going to be a visual stunner of a game to watch, especially on a 1X. So I think I'll definitely be jumping in at some point on those Sunday nights with you guys to be the slow bloke at the back, but I'm definitely going to have a play of this one. I think it's going to be awesome. And kudos again, as we said earlier, to them just keep on pushing content out there. I think it's been a fantastic game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the stuff that James and the team are doing kind of with this extra content is just making Sea of Thieves kind of that returnable game. You know, we've seen this with Destiny, we've seen it with The Division, where there is some cool stuff, you go back in, but with Sea of Thieves, it's just so great to just kind of see this constant content. And as the guys have said before, that while obviously we had the Cursed Sails, while the Cursed Sails is out, then James has been busy beavering away on the Forsaken Shores, and then there's obviously another team that's making even more content, so this content is going to keep going, but this just looks so different. I mean, like I say, as I said earlier, the Sunday night's gaming was absolutely incredible, but to see this kind of like gameplay reveal and see this, it blows my mind. And one of the things that was quite interesting in the interview was that they were saying that they're seeing people kind of use the rowboat in different ways, like someone has loaded up kind of explosive barrels into a rowboat and then pushed it towards a galleon, you know, and then so you just push it towards a galleon and then just shoot it, and the whole thing explodes. You know, there's some really cool ways that you can use the tools, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about this game, is that there's tools there that you can use. One thing I forgot to mention at the start of the show was right now at the Herbert Art and Gallery Museum in Coventry. Speaking of Rare, there is a Rare exhibition that is running at the moment, and James and his lovely wife Ali have kind of put this museum, this exhibition together, and it's absolutely fantastic. So it just goes through the history of Rare and showing you all the games. There's some piñatas there, which I will probably try and steal. There's some piñatas there. There's just all kind of concept work and things you haven't seen before. So this is actually happening right now at the Herbert Gallery and Museum in the UK in Coventry. But on the 15th of September, James and a bunch of the Rare guys, there is a chat, so it's called Rare Tales from Tricross, and it's basically, the kind of bump about this event is your chance to learn more about the life and lore of the studio, which is Rare, that's logged 3 decades of games, from Jetpack through to Sea of Thieves by the way of Battletoads and Banjo-Kazooie, and Editor's Note and Viva Pinata. So this is kind of, like I say, this is 15th of September at the Herbert Herbert Art and Gallery Museum. So there's going to be James from the podcast here. James is going to be there with some guys from Rare, kind of going through some tales, some stories. I'm sure there's going to be a Q&A. I'm sure I'm only allowed to ask 2 Viva Pinata questions. So it's going to be, it's like I say, the exhibition is running right now. I'll put a link in the show notes. And also there is a special event that's happening on the 15th of September at the Herbert Art Gallery and Museum, which is in Coventry. So I thought I remembered, because I wanted to add that to kind of what I've been doing this week, because I bought a couple of tickets to this, but it just reminded me when we were talking about Sea of Thieves and the Forsaken Shores.
I'm just thinking of your T-shirt. I'm trying to come up with a design in my mind of the T-shirt you're going to wear to the event. And like I can see you outside with saying when you go up, are the tickets named, because you don't want security to see Chesson on it, because James has probably said anybody with the name Chesson on it or wearing a Pinata T-shirt, escort them into room 7B and then lock the door. Because it will be like hand in the air. Can I have another question, please? Yes, that's your 11th. Yeah, can we make this your last one, please? And no, it's not coming in 4K.
I have one question that's in 45 parts. That's it. My T-shirt at the back is just going to be like, make Viva Pinata 4K. You know, and that's probably one of my questions as well. It's like, be prepared, James. Be prepared. So that was Sea of Thieves. And like I say, I'll put a link to the Herbert Gallery and Museum. That was Sea of Thieves. Also in this stream, also kind of kicking off Gamescom, PUBG. PUBG is getting a 1.0 release, so it's finally going to come out of early access. There's a physical copy for the first time. There's a physical copy of PUBG for Xbox, and also it's going to come to 1.0. So they'll also be bringing some extra content. So there's another island, another map is going to be released, which is currently running on the test servers, I think, and that's going to be released as well. They also included some team matches as well for PUBG, so you're going to be able to go in with a team. So there's team squads. You'll be able to revive your team members. You'll be able to kind of really kind of almost like the capture points that we're seeing in Battlefield and Battlefront and things like that is coming to PUBG. And also, while they were talking about PUBG, there was something a little extra special that might interest you, sir.
No, there wasn't. No, there was not. No, let's skip over this. On to the next subject. No. Yes, yeah, it came true. It annoyingly happened, yes, they've released a limited edition PUBG controller, and yes, I have ordered it, and yes, I did jump off my bike when they said orderable now, and just happened to flick onto Microsoft's website, and it was not orderable now. Microsoft, you lied. It was. It managed to get ordered about 2 hours afterwards when the website started working properly. But yeah, I mean, going back to PUBG, I think we all jumped into it when it first hit on preview, and we were all a bit like, oh, I'm not sure, and I've delved in and out of it a few times. I am going to jump back in. I think when it goes 1.0, I'm going to jump back in, because some of the content they were showing looked like there could be some really good laughs there, and I can see why there are a lot of people playing PUBG and maybe not playing Fortnite. And I think that I think there's some really good content there. And did you watch the little snippet they did where Major Nelson went to Seoul and was with the developers? Yes. And that looked good. Like Friday Games Day. When they were playing either the new levels they've been working on. Beta testing their own stuff, and I just think it's a good little game and offers something different. And I think that's where the battle royale genre is everybody seems to be jumping onto it, which is fine. And I think, but if they jump on it into their own style, Fortnite has the building, PUBG is a little bit more, down and dirty. I think GTA have got a unique idea on their one, so I think it's good. And yes, and darn you, Microsoft releasing another controller. The boys told me it was coming. I chose not to believe it, because I could have Forza Horizon doesn't generally get its own controller. It's usually Forza Motorsport, and I was hoping, but then I'm thinking to myself, well, Spidey's on it on PlayStation. Nothing's going to come out of that. I can't really see them doing anything Red Dead. And then I just all of a sudden just did not look at PUBG, and it snuck up behind me and made me spend $59.99.
You wasn't ready for it. It just got you with a frying pan. So So that's just though it looks really cool. It's a really nice looking controller. I thought it was a really nice, really lovely looking controller. It has I noticed it had the X, had like an X on kind of on the right trigger. I think it was. I think it's on the right trigger, and on the back it says like PUBG. But if you're going to jump back in when that goes 1.0, give me a shout, because I won't mind like a couple of sessions, kind of like, because I haven't, like I say, I played around with it when they released the HDR patch. I jumped in, had a bit of a play. I think I was playing with Manny. We had a bit of a team match, and then I haven't really played it since then. So it'd be really good to just kind of jump back in. So give us a shout. Maybe we can get kind of Manny back in.
Yeah, no, definitely. We can all hide behind. Is Manny any good?
Oh, he's really good. Yeah. No,
we can hide behind Manny and just hide in his shadow. If we do it in sort of like Manny at front, then I'll go in the middle and you go behind me, and then you two can be my sandwich. And hopefully I just
follow him. I just follow him and go, what do I do now, Manny? And he just tells me. I'm like, thanks, Uncle Manny. And then he just keeps me alive. That's it. It's just good fun.
Did you play the... I know you said you had some access to the COD beta, didn't you? Did you end up jumping into that?
I did, yeah. No, I had beta access to the multiplayer of Call of Duty, so I played that. The Battle Royale beta is 14th of September. I think it's 14th of September, so I'm looking forward to kind of jumping in that. But I did have a good kind of Sunday morning kind of jumping into the multiplayer beta on Xbox on Call of Duty 4, and that was good fun. It was an interesting game. There was a lot of kind of there was one where you had to kind of grab a bag of money and then protect that bag, and they just seemed to be very quick. It all just seemed to be very quick and lots of leveling up. But really kind of I was looking forward to kind of jumping into that Battle Royale one, because I want to see how COD does Battle Royale.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those funny ones where I wasn't going to jump into it. I'm certainly not going to pay full price for it. I wasn't going to jump into it, but I may well, because there is sort of longevity. I mean, I had a bit of a clear out of my cupboard the other day of my physical media. And I think I got rid of Black Ops 3 I think it was Black Ops 3. I still got a relatively good price for it. I think it's. But
did you sell that on eBay or?
I sold it on Amazon, because I just find eBay sometimes a bit frustrating listing stuff. It's just too much work. Amazon, because I sometimes will sell stuff from the business through Amazon, sort of XDEM and things like that. You can just put the serial number in and it brings it up. And then you just basically go, what is it? Nearly new or whatever. And it says, other people are selling it for this. And you just go, match price, list. And you can list a whole wad of stuff in seconds. Where on eBay, I've done it a few times where I've put the serial number in and it either throws up 27 results or just doesn't recognise it. So, no, I've been doing it. I mean, I've got rid of a few games through there and just sort of things I'm not going to get around to playing or don't want to play a game. But it still got me, I think, about £25, which covered the cost of Dead Cells for me. So it is definitely worth jumping into. So yes,
no, absolutely. I'm like I say, I'm quite looking forward to seeing kind of just how Call of Duty takes on the likes of kind of PUBG and Fortnite. And then I think the last kind of thing, wrapping up a bit of kind of Gamescom news. Obviously, it's happening today. There's more news, but wrapping this up was that Game Pass got a beta app. For iOS and Android, which I think you can now download right now via Test Flight on iOS, and I think there's a link to the Android app, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I was I got back after dinner last night. I had a bit of a hunt around, started trying to watch it on Mixer, but it was just buffering and jumping all over the place. And I just got a bit fed up with that, so managed to find a feed on YouTube and was watching it on there, and it sort of come up and they said about it, and then I think it was I can't remember the web address now, but they said it was a limited run, and then you went to this web address / iOS. And then I literally was sitting there and I paused it, went onto my phone and done it, downloaded Test Flight on my iPhone, and then 5 minutes later got an email from Microsoft saying, here you go, put this code into Test Flight, and I did that, and then it automatically downloaded the beta app. So Yeah, I mean, I suppose a lot of people will make reference to Game Pass and Netflix, being a similar sort of platform. And I think the easiest way to describe it is a bit like Netflix. You're sitting on the train on Netflix, you're flicking through it, add to my list, and it's similar to that. You're scrolling through it, you see it. So let's say Doom, for instance. You click on Doom, and then you go, go add to list or download to Xbox. It then throws up a little menu which says make sure your Xbox is set to home. I think it's your home Xbox.
Yeah. And
then also make sure your Xbox is sent to instant on or downloadable while in standby, and then it just downloads to it. The only thing so far, my negative side of it is that it's not showing me a list of my games.
When you go to that tab, it's not populated, is it?
So it's that would be interesting because I've got Doom on there, but as physical media. I sold the physical copy because I knew it was on Game Pass, and I thought, well, I might as well get my money back for what I paid for it about a month or so ago. So it would be good to go, install on Xbox, and it chucks up, this is already on your Xbox, or you've already downloaded this, or something like that, because there's so much content out there now. But no, I mean, to be honest, for a in inverted commas free app that you can manage your Game Pass library and jump on stuff with, I think it's a great idea. Kudos to Microsoft for doing it.
Yeah, I think the positives about the app is that you can set the notification that when new stuff is added to Game Pass, that you get a little notification.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So I really like that. I just think that's really cool. That I'll get at some point, the watch or your watch will flash, and it would just say, Viva Pinata in 4K is now available by Game Pass, so that will happen, and so it's just that sort of stuff I really like. I think that's quite cool. I'm not sure why they couldn't actually just loop that into the Xbox app, because I'm running the beta version of the Xbox app as well. I'm not sure why they couldn't just run it into there, but it's it's quite good for what it is. I always like that app because you can, like you say, you can install. If you've got an Xbox that's set to home, you can always install to that. So it's always good when a demo or a game comes out and you're on the train and you're just like, right, well, there you go. By the time you get home and had your dinner, the game's downloaded and ready to roll. So I like that, and like I say, the notification side of it is a really good move.
I think if there's anything Microsoft have been good at, or the Xbox team been good at, is developing it. I mean, I switched the PlayStation on, the other day for the first time, and it just the whole menu system on PlayStation just seems a bit antiquated. It just seems a bit backwards of where everything is. I mean, it took me, a good few minutes to find the free demo, the free VR demo that I was playing for Transference. But I think they may well have kept it separate to beta it, and then they may then roll it into the app, or they might merge the two and release a new app. I think if there's one thing that Xbox is good at is keep on bringing new stuff in, changing the way that the interfaces are working, or the home screen's working. I mean, let's groups, for instance, where I've done what you've done now, and I've created a Forza Horizon group. Or Forza group.
Yeah.
So, it's on my home screen. I can just go down, bang, I can play a game of Forza, without having to go to my pins or to my game. So, I think it's a great start, very fluid, swipe left and right, up and down, very, very intuitive, and long may it last.
Absolutely. I mean, have you ever tried to buy a PlayStation game via the PlayStation app on your iPhone? It's so annoying. No. It really is just like, it's annoying.
I generally won't buy PlayStation games from PlayStation after all of the I'm not a person. I'll buy it, from the internet. I'll pay for my watch. I'll do all the things like that. But I won't have my credit card details in Microsoft in PlayStation Store. I will either buy a code from CD Keys or Amazon, or I'll buy a physical copy, knowing that there's a good chance I'm going to get rid of it later.
Right.
Yeah, so all of my PlayStation stuff pretty much is physical. Spidey's coming to me on a physical copy. Although I got to say, I have been It's weird. I've had 6 months where I haven't really used my PlayStation. I've moved it up at the office. I was watching the Spidey trailer, which was on the front page of IGN last night, about the newsread or news reporter saying about crime is escalating and all that lot. And I got to admit, I did open the Amazon app up and go, oh, it's still pre-orderable, the special edition. It's like, no, you can't do that. You'll just take your PlayStation from the office and bring it back home, and then you can play it back here. But yeah, so no, I generally stick to physical copies with that. But yeah.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait for Spider-Man. We're only a week and 2 weeks away, really. I guess a week on Friday, because a week on Friday, Spider-Man.
I've got to admit that watching that video last night, I like the look of. I did like the look of it, but I've got to admit that game, looking at that trailer last night, like the web grenades and things like that, it did sort of make me sit there and go, yeah, I think I'm going to keep the pre-order for the game on Amazon. I'm not going to cancel it because I've got a feeling you're going to be waxing lyrical about it. If I'm on the podcast with you, I've got to interject with the conversation. So I feel like there might be a few. Anybody up for the pod this week? And everybody's going to go, no, because Spider-Man came out and we're not playing it.
It would just be a one-man podcast where I just do the whole thing in a Stan Lee impression, and it's just like, I cannot wait to play that game. I am so excited. You know, I've got it's pre-ordered. I've digitally pre-ordered it. It's sitting there counting down. Every now and then I turn on the PlayStation 4 just to check. I want to make sure my controller's charged, because I always have problems with PlayStation 4 controllers, and I think it's just the case because it's a system that I don't use enough. So I always it's foreign to me, I always have those problems with it, like my controller's not charged or any of that. So I'm getting back into just making sure that's charged, making sure I have my backup controller, so when my kind of Namcom one depletes, or then I've got the other one. I've got the other controller, the proper controller. So I'm doing that. I'm making sure I've got backups and everything's ready and charged to go.
I was screaming at a podcast the other week because I think they might have been talking about the new Xbox Elite controller, because I think Microsoft officially stopped making the current one, and they were talking about, someone was saying about, what it really needs is rechargeable batteries that, like you do with the PlayStation, and I'm just screaming at my phone going, no, it doesn't. The one thing I love about my Xbox and I hate about the PlayStation is the fact of if you sit there and your controller runs out of juice, you've got to plug that cable in. And as I said earlier, my Xbox and my PlayStation, well, my PlayStation's even further away from my TV now, but up until recently, they were far enough away that I wouldn't be able to connect a cable and play with it on a cable. And it's just like I'm screaming at my headphones, going, "No, you're talking rubbish." I can quickly run to the kitchen, open a drawer, get out my 17 boxes of AA batteries and quickly flick it over, run back in with a beer in my hand, press the Xbox button again, or press the PlayStation. So, I just wish that they would do some PlayStation controllers that took batteries.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same as you. It's kind of weird because I think that and backup batteries for my smoke alarms are the only things I use batteries for. But it's just a bit weird. But I just I love it. I just I haven't got one of those docks where I kind of dock my controllers, and I always get caught out with a PlayStation. It's almost like that's why I've got two controllers now. So for Spider-Man, for when I'm playing that, and I'm going to be playing that so much that I don't have to stop and just sit there and watching a screen waiting for it to, because I'm the same as you. My PlayStation's too far away for a lead. It's too far away for it. If it was a normal kind of lightning cable, for similar to like an iPhone or an iPad, then I've got ones that are 6 foot long. I'd be fine with those, but it's not. It's some horrible kind of micro USB lead, and they're only ever coming like an inch length, so you can never. You're always like your face is up against the PlayStation when you're trying to recharge. First world problems, but I can't wait for Spider-Man. So next piece of news is with you.
This one, we jumped on it a few weeks ago with some improvements they were making to the Xbox, and Essential Install, which is one of my trade publication that we have in our industry. done an advert or done an article this week saying that the Xbox One X is officially the first HDMI 2.1 compatible device in the world.
Wow.
And for all of those people who don't know what that means and thinks, well, the HDMI is just a lead that plugs into the back, which would be correct. Currently, we're on standard HDMI 2.0, and we've been working towards HDMI standard 2.1 for a little while now. Taking the edge off it, fundamentally what it means is that the Xbox One is now compatible, supporting resolutions up to, you waiting ready? Ready, Anthony?
I'm ready. Say it.
Up to 10K.
Yes.
So forget about your 4K and forget about the 8K you're going to be seeing from CES in January and lots of other places releasing. I think Samsung have actually said they're going to officially release two 8K TVs in America next year. But yeah, so the Xbox One X will now be capable of supporting up to 10K resolutions, high frame rate content, and then two variable refresh rate, so VRR, and auto low latency mode.
Wow.
So without going on too much about it, basically variable refresh rate will automatically match the rates that the game console and the TV give out. So what can happen is basically there can sometimes be a non-syncing between what we call the sync and the source. So it can be showing two different things at two different rates, and that can cause problems. That can lead to like odd artifacts on the screen and basically lose that great picture that you're paying all that money for. So it's going to stop those types of things. Also, you may notice when you take your TV out of the box, it comes in a certain mode. If you press the screen mode button, which some people do and some people don't, quite often your screen mode is set to vivid, which you turn off straight away. But there's also modes on there like cinema and some things like my Panasonic I've got THX and THX night and day. You have ISF, who are the official sort of certifications for screens, but quite often there's a game mode on there. And some people don't realise, I'm assuming that potentially everybody listening to this podcast knows it, but quite often if you turn TV into game mode, you basically get less latency. And it's a game mode that's been optimised for playing computer games on. So what's going to happen now with ALLM, what will happen is, again, the sync and the source will talk to each other, and if the sync, which is your TV, I have no idea what it's called, sync, if the sync will basically see that the source, your Xbox, is basically transmitted as a game, it will basically switch itself over to the game mode, which means that you're getting the best picture and the best latency and the best picture for basically everything.
Wow.
The only downside to HDMI 2.1 is you can't actually buy a TV at the moment that supports it.
Right.
So anybody who's just bought a new TV is going to have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who's bought a new TV, Anthony?
No, I have no idea who's not bought a new TV. Just don't let Nicola know. She's like, the new TV? What? But I noticed that awesome game mode switching, that became an option, didn't it? In one of the updates on the Xbox. Well, just on the Xbox, it became an update that you could auto switch to game. Because I know whenever I kind of switch to, whenever I turn on the Xbox, it always automatically, my new TV, just automatically goes straight to game. And it's lovely. It's lovely that it kind of switches that, and I really like it. It's quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, all I would say is everybody who's got an Xbox One X out there, it's a great thing to have.
Yes.
It's something that in my industry we're paying a lot of attention to, and when we're doing houses now, we're having to pay attention to the cabling, more attention to the cable we're running, because some of the standard cabling like Cat 6 we're running can't support those high bit rates that 8K can carry.
Yep.
But don't worry, if you've just bought a new TV or you're going to buy a new TV, buy that new TV. Some of them might be upgradable by a firmware update, like the Xbox has. And actually, like with most technology, it's going to be a little while before the prices come down on some of these. So if you are an early adopter, then it might be worth waiting. But to be honest, at the moment, I mean, a lot of people don't realise that we're on something like the 6th generation of 4K now, and people are still only just getting their first 4K TVs. So it's something just to keep an eye on, but if you've got an Xbox One X, you're well ahead of the game.
Yes, that's just so cool. It's really good. That box just continues to be a little kind of awesome box of tricks. I think it's just I think I've said before on the pod, it's just the stuff that it does, the upscaling of the old 360 games, and now this as well. There's so much more. It's incredible. It's such a box. It's a box that's been designed by people like you and I, by tech nerds, and it's such a fantastic piece of kit, and couple that with the Elite controller, it's so lovely. It is really just, it feels like quality, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had issues with it. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't like being in a cupboard.
No,
especially if it's at the top of a cupboard.
Oh, mine is whirring big time at the moment. It's just like
I have a 4 terabyte Seagate drive, I think, connected to it, and sometimes I will go and play. Far Cry was one of the ones just recently I went to play it. You need to install this game. No, I don't. I was playing it like half an hour ago before I stopped and had my tea. And it just loses the connection.
Really?
So, and I think I can't figure out what it's doing, to be honest. And a majority of people that know me know that I did buy 2 Project Scorpios at the beginning. So I did unbox the second one, and that had similar problems. So, but I've been running the second one up the office, and that doesn't seem to be having issues. So I think it's just a heat thing. But no, it's great. I mean, it's I think it's a great little console. It'll be interesting to see what it comes in the future. It'll be interesting to see what PlayStation come up with in the future, and what Nintendo come up with in the future. But it's certainly a good time we live in. Although there's that rivalry and everybody's talking about the new consoles and this and that and Scarlet and whatever, it's like, let's just take one step back and look at where we are with our nice big 4K TVs and our native 4K content and upscaled content on the PlayStation, native 4K on the Xbox, and just bask in the glory of the Dolby Vision Netflix that we're being surrounded by.
Absolutely. There was one point, I think yesterday, when I was watching some of the Gamescom coverage, and I was watching a trailer for Biomutant. There's a new game called Biomutant, and I turned to Nicola and I was just like, I love video games right now. Not that I have never not loved them, but I just like, that game just looks how I've always wanted a game to look. And and with Forza coming out, is going to be very similar to Forza Horizon. Again, they all look stunning before. We've got Sea of Thieves. It's just eye-poppingly gorgeous. It's just seeing games in 4K and seeing them in HDR, which is, I guess, is even more important. And just seeing that, it is a great time. It is a great time to be a gamer.
But also jumping back to like Forza Horizon 2, it's lost some of its connectability that it had, but I was playing it here at home on my 4K TV, and it was just stunning. Yeah. And you're thinking, this game's 4 years old. And then I was up at the office in my lunch break, of course, having a go on my 1080p 32-inch TV, one of the TVs I've got up there. And even on that, on the Sony in 1080, it was still visually stunning. And and I think it's nice to jump into a Dead Cell every now and again and just remember what games used to be like, or break open your SNES Classic, or play your Mario on the Switch when the online services hits. But I just think, again, it's a bit like the VR. It's like, where the hell are they going to go next with some of the resolutions that are coming out?
Absolutely, indeed. It's a good time to be a gamer. And speaking of good time to be a gamer, a huge game for most of the Sparks, actually, which is Life is Strange. We got a trailer for Life is Strange 2 this week. So along with kind of Gamescom and all the news that's hitting, Don't Nod, the studio behind Life is Strange, they put out the trailer for the indirect sequel to Life is Strange. And so what this showed was, it's actually the two protagonists, the two characters you're going to be playing are brothers, and they are Sean and Daniel Diaz, who are kind of 16 and 9, and they seem to be on the run from authorities, so which is quite an interesting kind of, it was a really great kind of mood piece trailer. So it looks like they are coming away from Max and Chloe. It looks like they are coming away from those original characters from Life is Strange. Whether there will be some interjecting, whether there will be some crossover, who knows? But the first episode of Life is Strange 2, it's not even season 2, but Life is Strange 2 will launch on the 27th of September on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC. And it just looks absolutely fantastic. Have you seen the trailer for this, Stu?
Yeah, I saw the longer trailer, the one they showed yesterday, and I did see the J.J. Abrams type trailer where all you saw was the car being flipped over.
Yes.
And it was something like it was straight out of Cloverfield. It
really was. It was like something mysterious is happening. What is this? It was very cool.
It does look interesting, and the whole play out of the longer trailer that I saw yesterday. Do you have to have played the first game to play this? Are you going to benefit from playing the first game?
It doesn't look like it. Like I say, I mean, the first game is all about Max and Chloe, and and this looks like I say, they're not in the trailer. I was expecting, right, here we go. We obviously had Life is Strange, the prequel that's come out, and so we played a bit of that. And I was really expecting to kind of maybe see some of those characters, or it to be in Arcadia Bay. James and I have obviously we have spoke about this on the pod because we had games that were very similar to each other, and then the last decision there was two choices, and James went one way and I went the other way. So it was like, what do they do with this? Do they just delete one of those choices, so like kind of 50% or however many percent chose that one are now wrong, and they go with that way, or what do they do? And this is what they're doing. They're going with these two new characters. And this is kind of how they're going to just take it on. So it's more of kind of the Life is Strange world. We don't know if they're heading to Arcadia Bay or wherever they're doing, but it just looks interesting and it looks fantastic, and I just cannot wait to play it.
No, because I did play. I think it was when you and Daz were waxing lyrical about it. Back in the day, I did jump in and play the original Life is Strange, but because it had some cuss words in it, I was finding that it wasn't one of the sort of things I could play on a Sunday when I do most of my gaming. So, or I'd have to sit with a set of cans on, and that's rude when your daughter's standing next to you, which. Actually, that's quite useful sometimes, especially if they're noise cancelling. But so no, I mean, I haven't gone through and played all the Life is Strange. But I am tempted to jump in this, and I know the what was the one, the very short one, the Captain Spirit. Did you play that? The free to play,
I did.
No achievements one.
Yeah, the Awesome Tales of Captain Spirit. So,
that's it. Yeah.
And I think they teased this kind of at the end of that as well. That kind of.
Yeah, and, that's what I'd heard.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. I mean, that game is only a good kind of 3 hours, not even that long. It's very quick to play. It's a really good kind of tease into this world of kind of Life is Strange, and I would definitely say jump into that, play that first, and been waiting for September 27th.
I definitely that may well be my one of my weekend games, so I'll definitely be playing that. Definitely.
Does that come out? Is that kind of clashing with? I guess that means I have to finish episode 1 of Life is Strange before Forza Horizon comes out, because Forza Horizon's the 28th, isn't it? The early access.
Something like that, yeah.
I think the early access is on the Friday, isn't it? So this comes out on the 27th. I love having to kind of arrange my diary around games. 27th is Life is Strange episode 1. So that's on the Thursday, and then on the Friday or Thursday night at 11 o'clock is Forza Horizon 4.
So you're not going to be on there at Thursday night at 11 o'clock trying to find roads, are you?
Well, who knows? I will be there on Friday.
Actually, to be honest, roads that I'm trying to unlock. Did you ever unlock the achievement on Forza Horizon 2 for finding all the roads?
No, because I fired it up. I fired it up at the weekend because I even played. It's so funny. I've even played Forza Horizon 2, Fast and Furious. Because there was a free Fast and Furious expansion, because I'm just trying to top up my Forza Hub score. So I did. I did all the boards in Fast and Furious. I did all the roads in Fast and Furious, but my score hasn't gone up in the Forza Hub. I was like, I don't think I should like have a kind of go. Excuse me, turn 10. Excuse me, but it hasn't gone up. So I've smashed all the boards. In that, and because it tells you how many you've got left to go. So I've smashed all the boards. I found all the roads, but my score hasn't gone up because there's two scores in Forza Hub for that, and it hasn't gone up. So I was really disappointed. I was like, yes, I downloaded it. That just still looks good. So I downloaded it, kind of was playing that. I had about 3 boards to smash, and I had a couple of roads to do. But yeah, though I haven't unlocked all the roads in Forza Horizon. So Forza Horizon 2.
I can't find that. I'm up to the last one, and I've even been on Reddit, and there are a few people who are saying that when you go to like Forza Horizon 3, the roads were a lot easier to spot.
Right.
But apparently in Forza Horizon 2, there are a lot of people who are or were stuck on one road short. Oh. But I no word of a lie, I have literally sat there, zoomed in on the map, taken all of the overlay off of it, and gone through every square inch, and I cannot find. And apparently it is a case of where people are just happened to be playing the challenges or whatever, and it turns out it was a tiny piece of dirt road.
Wow.
But I have wasted probably about an hour, if not more, trying to find that darn road. So
cool.
So I'm stepping away from it for the minute, because I think if I get too annoyed with it, it's going to ruin my Forza Horizon 4 experience and ultimately winning the road challenge.
But I remember when that happened in Forza Horizon 3, and there was like you and Matt had already unlocked maybe all of the roads, and I was trying to find, and I could not find one, and it was just like almost like a little cul-de-sac. And I was like, that's where it is. And then I saw it and drove, and then it unlocked, and everything was right in the world. Pro
tip: you have to bring up the menu.
Yep.
You have to press whatever button
LB.
it was to bring, and then you have to take off all of the overlay. So like, show me the hub, show me the the challenges. So you've literally just got a map there, and I think all you have left on there is the overlay of where the festivals are, if you think of Forza Horizon 3. But then that reveals everything, because you will find that there's an icon covering the road you're missing. But then, hey, you might not be as sad as us and want to unlock every road.
But why not? Well, but speaking of Forza, and then we will move on to more news, but speaking of Forza, did you see that in our WhatsApp group, that I laid down the very first time challenge? So time trials has now come to Forza Motorsport 7, so that's coming. And I went on to Prague, the short Prague, and did a belter of a time. And then you can now set me as a chessman. On Xbox, you can set me as a ghost, and then you can race against my ghost.
Awesome. That's what I'm doing after this, apart from pulling myself a beer.
So it's just a good stuff. So, Stu, the next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, so I jumped on the old interweb when I got back tonight from work, and just thought, what's going on? Is there any new content out there? Obviously, because we have Gamescom on. And this one jumped up on the GameSpot website, which is no new Assassin's Creed coming in 2019. I think I certainly was quite surprised that we had this year's... now it's Odyssey this year, isn't it? Yeah. I was quite surprised, because I know there was a few leaks going round, before E3 about there being a new Assassin's Creed game, and I think everybody was like, well, no, they always, they generally miss a year. They haven't been doing it year after year for a while, but it looks so. Ubisoft have revealed that it will not be launching a new Assassin's Creed title in 2019. Instead, it will support this year's entry, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, with additional content designed to keep players engaged in the game. Speaking at Gamescom, Ubisoft CEO, I can never pronounce his name, Yves
Guillemot.
There you go. Explained that Assassin's Creed Odyssey 2018 release was enabled because both 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey were being developed at the same time, and Odyssey will not be immediately followed by another game.
Wow. That's a really good move. I think the break that they gave Assassin's Creed was a really good break, and I think it made kind of a lot of people kind of quite excited about Assassin's Creed when that came out. Assassin's Creed Origins when that came out. So seeing this, there is a lot of people going, wow, so soon, because I really did think that they would do something like Watch Dogs or something like that in between and just kind of flip-flop between those franchises. But knowing that we've got this and this is going to be supported, and then we're not going to get one until, I guess, 2020, hey, what could be coming out in 2020? New consoles. New consoles, launch edition. It just kind of, it fuels that fanboy theory that there could be new consoles coming out. And this is great. Take a year off. Don't force one. Take a year off and kind of play with those new dev kits and get something new and shiny out.
I think the problem is that we've all got busy lives, and especially the older you get, and when you have family. And I gotta admit, Assassin's Creed Origins is still on my pile of shame, or that's not so much a pile of shame, more of a hard drive of shame now. And I still have not ringed it for its content. I mean, I haven't even touched it really on its outskirts. So, there's part of me that, I don't know, I'm sort of laying in limbo here going, okay, I bought Assassin's Creed Origin I bought it as a Christmas game, something I'd play over the Christmas break, because I always take 2 weeks off. I always shut the business down for 2 weeks at Christmas. And I always play games. And I thought I'll play it then. And I paid full price for it. And then I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going to do that with Odyssey, because I've still got Origins to play, but I don't want to miss out on Odyssey. So it's a bit, so I'm glad they're going to do that. I mean, love or hate EA, I do like the way they flip-flop between Battlefield and Battlefront, although I wish they would change one of them because it's so confusing. But I do like the fact of that if you want to play a World War game, then you can play that, and they can give you a year or two's content out of it. Or if you want to play a futuristic, Star Wars game, you can play that, and they can wring the content out of it. And I think with Assassin's Creed, I was personally a bit surprised, because yes, I know it's Egypt and Greece, but geographically they're not that far from each other, and having two games which are very similar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's a good shout. That's all I can say. From a gamer, it's a good shout that they're going to miss next year out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have Assassin's Creed Origins. I've played a lot of it. I got it as a Christmas game. I think when we got back from our Christmas holiday, we were gaming, and I was playing a lot then. This year, I'm probably going to miss Odyssey, even though kind of the setting is quite interesting. I'm probably going to miss Odyssey just because Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption 2's out, and that's just going to be the game that I'm going to still be playing that, I should think. It won't be the Christmas game because it comes out in November, doesn't it? And I want to kind of get into that as soon as possible. But that's going to be the game that I'm going to be playing. We've got. It's going to be amazing. I just kind of think, that one. I think it's really interesting because the gameplay trailer. I might have talked about it last week, but the gameplay trailer took me from being lukewarm on it and go, yeah, well, I guess I'll get it, to God, I want that game, and just so and so it's always the way. The back half of the year was when you really get spoiled as a gamer, and that you can say that something as amazing looking as Odyssey, that you actually go, no, I'm going to pass because there's this and this, and for me, Forza Horizon, Red Dead Redemption, and Spider-Man, the kind of those three. What more could I want apart from maybe some overcooked DLC?
I'm just frightened to get into Red Dead because it's going to be so open world. I really want to play it, and I'm like, I mean, I can't remember which one of the Sparks it was who was saying it's the game he's genuinely excited about, and can't wait for. And I know I was a bit like you, but when that trailer dropped and I got pinged from somewhere. And I was walking the dog, and I was watching it on my phone. I literally had to stop and sort of sit on a fence and just watch it. And even on my iPhone 10, you were just sitting there going, "Holy expletive! This looks stunning." And it is a definite play. It's a definite play. But I know how much time I've put into something like Far Cry. I know how much effort has gone into this game, and it frightens me to how big this game is going to be, and how many hours this thing's. If you can kill 150 hours in some games like Monster Hunter and things like that, how many hours are you going to sink into this? This is just going to be, revolutionary in how big this game is going to be.
Yeah, and the fact that we're going to come out of like Red Dead and then maybe go into the Division 2, it's just going to be big game after big game, and it's great time, But I'm the same as you. What I need to always remind myself is not to get overwhelmed by these big open games, because I always do that. I kind of go into a game, especially a solo game. I go into a game and then suddenly you kind of have that really nice tutorial bit. You come out and it goes bang, here you go, you can do all of this, and suddenly I just crumble at that point. I'm like, it's too much, I can't do it, and I just roll over, kind of like fetal position. But I'm so looking forward to that game. It's just going to be fantastic. So that alone kind of is probably the reason why you're going to skip a lot of games, in the back half of the year. Metro, the new Metro, is that coming out at the end of the year as well? I think it might be, mightn't it? There's some games where you just think, why aren't you waiting until next year? Like The Division. The Division's doing that. That's not going to be out until the 25th of March.
Isn't it coming out next year? It's Exodus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Metro Exodus.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I've got it in my 22nd of February 2019.
Oh, right.
Thank you, Google.
Fact check. Well, that's true. Yeah. And then speaking of games that are coming out towards the end of the year, this week at Gamescom, DICE announced that there's going to be an early open beta for Battlefield 5. For those wanting to jump into Battlefield 5, another game I'm excited about. Those wanting to jump into Battlefield 5, it's going to be available on the 4th of September, not long away, only a couple of days after Master Chief Collection unlocks. So September the 4th will be early access for people that are playing on EA Origin or EA Access on consoles, or who have pre-ordered it. You get early access for a couple of days. For everybody else, this becomes available on September the 6th for PlayStation 1, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Origin on PC. The open beta is going to feature the Rotterdam map that was revealed in an amazing trailer, which I'll stick in the show notes, and there's going to be conquest mode as well. There's also going to be an Arctic Fjords map where it has both Grand Operation and also Conquest. So you're going to get 3 maps, 2 modes. Really, I mean, obviously the Grand Operation is a big map. That's a big map, and this is, like I say, so this is coming out. It's going to be available. I think it's only available for a short period of time, but early access 4th, then the 6th of September for everyone else, and then it's going to be kind of over that weekend. This obviously goes live. I think the game is out in October 19 is in my head for this game, and I'll stick a link to the trailer for this that I'm talking about, because the trailer was amazing. And also this week, just before Gamescom, they had an NVIDIA conference where they showed off Battlefield 5 running on an uber high-end NVIDIA kind of card setup that only Manny would be able to explain to us, and it was fantastic. The reflections and everything. We're obviously going to see a 4K HDR beautiful version on Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro, etc. But the PC version of this, as it is always with this Frostbite engine, the PC version is going to be kind of just that one step further, and it looked absolutely incredible. It looked jaw-dropping.
Yeah, I love the Battlefield games. Have always been my preference over the COD games. Maybe because I am more of a single-player campaign type of person, but going back to the last generation game, I thought that was brilliant, and. Yeah, I mean, I was watching the clips from Gamescom from Inside Xbox, and this is another one that I'm watching, and I'm just looking at it going, oh, do I pre-order this? I'll get early access because I'm on EA Access anyway. Yes. But it's sort of like, this is one where I do look at it and go, there's so much to play. Am I honestly going to get round to playing this? But this has always been one of my Christmas games. Right. This is always, along with COD, this has always been one of those games where I will sit down on Boxing Day, or I will sit down, after Christmas and be drinking, port at 9 a.m. as you're allowed to do at Christmas. Yep. With as long as it has a cheese platter, of course.
And Christmas cake.
And Christmas cake, yeah. And but I just can't wait. I mean, it just looks stunning. I mean, Yeah, anybody who wants any AV work done from between September and December this year, could you call me in January, please? Because I don't think I've got any time in my diary. I've literally, whilst you were saying this, I've just opened my diary up and put on September the 4th, Battlefront Open Beta, because it's like, I'll be sitting down playing that straight away. I cannot wait. Yeah, cannot wait.
Yeah, it just looks absolutely incredible. It's going to be good fun to just kind of jump into that beta, but it's just going to be, so that's like I say, it's September the 4th for early access. September the 6th. So I'm guessing because the first is a Saturday, didn't we? So that makes the 4th
Tuesday.
So Tuesday, Thursday, and then you can guess it's probably going to run till the end of that weekend. So
they usually do.
So we need to maybe arrange some time to jump in and have a bit of a play. Have you played Battlefield? The Battlefield 1 now it's on EA Access. Have you played it recently? Now it's got that 4K bump because it looks really lovely.
Actually, no, I haven't. No, I should go back and try that. I played it. I rinsed it quite a bit when it came out, including online. I really liked it. Ironically, I really like the horse riding element of it.
Yeah.
Thinking forward to this year where we've got Red Dead, but no, I think I will jump back into it because I think out of all the online games, Battlefield's always been the one that I've liked.
Yes.
I'm not a huge online player. I'm 43 years old and my reactions are good, but they're not as good as I was when I was 17. I can still dodge a punch from the wife, but not so much anything else. But yeah, I think I will jump back into it because just to get the limbs warmed up for a bit of one-on-one action with some sniper rifles.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something about it. Was funny, isn't it? Because Battlefield always used to be that one where the kids were playing COD, so the kind of quote unquote grown-ups were playing Battlefield, and that was always kind of that. But I've always liked Conquest. I've always liked that. Go to point A, unlock that, protect that, and when you start seeing that in other games, I really enjoy that. That's always my go-to mode because I might not be the best person. I might not have the biggest hit ratio, but I'll be that support guy. I will go and unlock that flag. I will go and stand by that flag. I'll heal you. I'll throw out that, and that's why I really love Battlefield. And it's so great. It's so great. So yeah, so that's coming soon. It's starting to get to that season. I think Madden is Madden out now because
Madden's out.
So
yeah,
Madden
out, yeah.
is the start. That is it. That's kind of similar to autumn and the smell of leaves and pumpkin spice latte. The Madden coming is the start of silly season. So it's getting close where we're just kind of big game after big game, and it's and like I say, we can change away from Spider-Man.
No, it's I can't wait. It's we're warming up, we're limbering down in the summer's drawing to a close. The night outside is very dark and I can see the moon shining through the lounge window. It sounds very romantic. I can see the PC monitor glowing in Antony's face on Skype. and more films will be watched in the cinema and more computer games will be played in the lounges across the country. Waiting for Santa Claus to come down the chimney.
And give even more games to play. And on that romantic, gorgeous, lovely note, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. Stu, big thank you for pulling up a mic.
No worries, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube and also Gamers Lost Spark, PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. Stu, where can people find up with you?
On Xbox and PSN, you'll find me under the name of General Letdown. On Nintendo Switch, just punch in some random numbers, you might find me. And on Twitter, you'll find me as Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Excellent stuff. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and also Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. That's about it. We'll talk to you next week. Say goodbye, Stu.
Welcome to silly season. Goodbye.